The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
I'm a big fish in a small pond. Got my days free and my nights long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be. Who I am is fine with me. It's who I am. It's who I am. Who I am is fine with me.
Coming in. Here we go. Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Oh, my God. I'm so happy to be here. First off, I want to thank Jim Bell. He's our producer and engineer. And every week, if it wasn't for Jimmy, I don't know where I'd be. So thank you, Jim Bell from Armed Radio. We are here Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's called What's the Story with Maria. And if you want to find us, you just get your TuneIn app on your phone and you just type in Armed Radio. That's the mothership. And we will be running from 9 to 10 on Tuesdays. If you want to stream us live on Armed Radio, what you do is you just type in, let's say you're on your computer, you just type in armeddigitalmedia.com, armedradioglobal.com, and you can find us that way as well. And I try to Facebook Live every week. It's worked 99% of the time. Once in a blue moon, we have some glitches, and sometimes I have to update software and things like that. That happened, was it last week with Dominic Pupa? And I apologize for that. What it was now I know that I had to download. They've switched over on the Macs where you have to have Firefox. So it was out of my hands. There was nothing I could do. And but we are all set now. So we're going live. My friend Leo Rodriguez has come on, and he has put on the TuneIn.com Armed Radio logo right away. So thank you for doing that, Leo. And I want to say that we broadcast live from New York every week. And let me see. I think it's week 9. I want to say it's week 9 of being in a very different situation than we're normally in. If you look back, it is 2020. It's May of 2020. And if you listen back archivally, this was a very challenging time in our country. And for New York, especially because we're so densely populated. So we're dealing with, the challenges of that, of navigating a kind of a new world. And so there's a lot of things that go on with that package. We have to adjust our lives. We're trying to get back to work a little at a time, and that is happening. Today was one of the first days, I got to tell you, where I actually had some serious hope. I was driving from New Jersey over the GWB, and it was actually like, there were like a bunch of cars on there. Normally, the day-to-day life in New York and New Jersey is super busy. So everything's bumper to bumper anyway. But this particular last 9 weeks has been very strange. So it's not a lot of people on the road. But today, it's picking up. Like, people are starting to get back to work, which is great. And I feel really hopeful about that. And the weather is beautiful. It's like 60s, low 70s. And it just feels really great. So I feel like a lot of good things are happening. And it's starting to, come around. So I don't know where you folks are, and we usually get a lot of people from all over the country. So if you're from somewhere else in the country and you want to let us know where you are and how's it going out there, please type in. We would really love that if you did that. So Leo, can you see me and hear me? I think you can. Give me a little, just type in something. All right, so tonight, what am I going to, I have 2 callers calling in. And one is actually my niece, one of my nieces. I have 2 nieces. One is my niece Leah, and my other niece is my niece Angelica. And Angelica this year graduated. She's class of 2020. Oh, there's Seamus has just joined us. Hi, Seamus McGuire. You can hear us? Okay, good. It helps if I can see people type in. It's a weird thing with Facebook Live. Dan, how are you? Wonderful. Dan Crowley is also calling in. I'm so excited tonight's going to be a great show. Rena Crugnali Berge, my cousin from Massachusetts, is calling in. And, Jimmy, I don't know if I forgot to tell Jimmy that my niece is from Woburn. So Jimmy knows Woburn really well. And so she's going to call in because this was, I have a lot of my cousins have children, a lot of them. We have a very big family. And there were a couple of graduates this year, 2020 graduates. And that was, they were all really good eggs about it, I got to say. But boy, this would be a hard time for me. Because I was one of those crazy seniors that did as much as I could possibly do in high school. And as I said, my niece is in college, so that's a lot. There's a lot going on. There's finals. There's all kinds of ceremonies. She got an award, a really big award, so I want her to talk about that. And, there's the challenges that come up, and I'm sure you have kids out there and a family that went through the same thing. And there was a wonderful program on television that was, was called, I think, Graduating Together. It was on ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN, I believe. Even Fox, so many channels. And what it was all kinds of athletes and former presidents and just really like amazing people and people of honor that wanted to celebrate with the class of 2020. And they just did just the most beautiful tribute. And I just thought it was amazing. I also want to send an incredible shout out to my new favorite show. It's called SGN, Some Good News, it stands for. And it's John Krasinski of The Office, who's also from Massachusetts, where I grew up. I've lived here 30 years, but I grew up in Massachusetts, as did my niece. And he is doing this amazing show. Please go on YouTube and look up Some Good News, SGN. He celebrates every week. I think he's in his 8th or 9th week now. And he finds something really great to celebrate. And this week he did a tribute to the class of 2020 as well. And that's partly what made me think that tonight would be a really good night to do something like this. And so I wanted to, it's funny, I was trying not to throw my own anxiety on there of how I would feel. I was trying to say this is a different generation, these are not your issues. These are issues that, they're used to dealing with computers. They're used to doing things differently and remotely. But I got to tell you, I cannot imagine that it would be easy. So, I just really wanted to salute all of you out there that are listening and will listen after I save the show. If you graduated this year or you have sisters or brothers or kids that graduated this year, you will forever, ever be special. It was the worst of times, and I agree. But you will be remembered as that amazing class that just persevered. And I am so in awe. I actually, here's my niece now. Oh my goodness. Angelica?
Hi.
How are you?
So good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I was just telling everybody, first of all, I want to welcome you to the show. This is not your first time. You've been on the show a couple of times, right?
I have been, yeah, for the Christmas episode.
The Christmas episode. So if you've watched any of my family shows, which broadcast usually from Woburn or Stoneham, Angelica is in every episode, and she's really funny. She is my sister's daughter, and so she's just a really, really good egg, and she's very smart. I think Justin, your boyfriend, was on the last episode as well.
He was, yeah.
Yes, and he gave a very good answer. I remember his answer was right on. So,
oh, yeah. But the baby Jesus.
Yes, that's right. I thought, well, So, first of all, I want to say, honey, congratulations on graduating.
Thank you.
Quite a feat.
It is.
Now, right. Quite a feat, number one, just to do anyway, to finish college is a big deal. Not everybody does, and sometimes people put it off and then go back later, but you just went clear straight through, and the interruption was this last semester, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very different.
Okay, so do you mind telling us what your experiences were like as a graduate of 2020 in this new world?
Yeah, absolutely. So in March, our class got switched to online for the rest of the semester. And we had 2 weeks of spring break, which is pretty crazy. I was like, wow, 2 weeks of spring break. That's a long time.
Okay.
And then, we just did Zoom, lectures. I was basically done with my English degree. I just was finishing my philosophy minor. So I was taking 4 philosophy classes. 2 of them were with the same professor. So it was just a lot of lecturing and stuff. But, I ended up, I have a creative writing concentration at school, so I have an English degree with a creative writing concentration, and I was actually given the Creativity Award this semester, and I am coming out with a chapbook that my school published that's coming out soon, for poetry that I won the award for. So that was really cool to receive, and that definitely lifted up my spirits for the rest of the semester. My advisor told me I got the award in April, early April. So I was really excited to kind of I feel like that got me through,
Oh yeah. Now, first of all, may I just tell you that I am beaming with pride. Anyway.
Thank you.
And then when I know about this award, but when you say it yourself, I cannot tell you how, I just think that's the greatest thing, because you know how I feel about creativity.
Yeah.
My two favorite things in a person that a person would possess are creativity and compassion. Those are my 2 favorite traits. Or things that they will hold and carry and possess, and not everyone has either of those, but you have both of those.
Oh, thank you.
I want to tell you, and so and I've told you this before, but you're so much like my mom, who was your grandma, and she had the exact same spirit. You have her spirit, and I just think it's wonderful. So
thank you.
I want to tell a lot of our listeners knew Nani and know of Nani. So now, if this were a regular ceremony, would have gone to a ceremony where you would have gotten that award, right?
Yeah. So I was supposed to do a 10-minute reading for my poetry book at the Creative Award ceremony, and they do it for every creative major at film state, so they do it for writing and dance and everything. So it was going to be this big performance of musicians and dancers and poets and everybody. So I was really looking forward to that. And I was also supposed to read at a couple other poetry readings in Salem and at Film State and at the Salem Athenaeum Library. So those were all scheduled for May or April, and I love reading. That's my thing, is I just love reading my poetry out loud, and so I was so disappointed to hear that was all canceled. But we did a Zoom Creative Awards dinner.
Oh, you did? That's really wonderful.
Cool. Yeah, it was cool. And I basically made a short film with my boyfriend. I put it up on my Facebook, so it's on there if you want to check it out. But
it's fantastic.
Yeah. So we made that. Randomly, we were just you know what, we have to go make something for the Creative Award thing, because they were going to have people read record themselves reading. And I was just thinking to myself, I was all right, I could sit in my room and record myself reading my poems, or I could make something that they could show that was a little bit more me, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So we made a short film together in a day, and it was so much fun to make.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was really well done.
Thank you, yeah.
Really well done. And so do you think, so in a weird way, you probably wouldn't have made that little film if you had not had the challenge of not having the in-person classes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I definitely wouldn't have made that, and I worked a ton on poetry while I was in quarantine.
I can imagine.
So, yeah, I am basically I wrote a chapbook of 20 poems for my thesis, and then now I'm expanding it to 35 poems. So I have about 30 right now. So I'm pretty close to my full-length poetry collection, which is crazy.
Wow.
But, yeah, and I probably wouldn't have done that if I was, having fun at Film State.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Now, also Salem State, where you go, why don't you tell everybody, because we know, because we're from Massachusetts, and a lot of people that are literature people know what Salem, but tell the world and the listeners what Salem is famous for.
Yeah, Salem has a lot of stuff happening. So it's like a port town. So it has a huge naval history, which is really cool. Nathaniel Hawthorne lived in Salem for a while, and then a lot of writers kind of flocked to Salem to hang out with Nathaniel Hawthorne, essentially, like Melville and other writers. So it was a big, like, literary hub. And then I feel like all the writers that were there were kind of obsessed with writing about the history of Salem, which we know is the Salem witch trials and the naval history, essentially.
Right. Now, but I spent a lot of time in Salem myself when I was about your age and a little bit older, probably from like 22 to 27. And I have to say there's something very, very, very special about that area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so special. It's
just rich with it's just something's in the air. It's really amazing.
It's amazing. There's a huge arts community. They ran the Massachusetts Poetry Festival there for a couple of years. Now it's in Boston. They have the Peabody Essex Museum. They have a lot of kind of like clubs and lounges and places to play music. There's like 3 or 4 poetry open mics every day of the week. You know, it's really crazy how much they have in that small town. You know. Yeah,
and Massachusetts in general, I think it really lends itself well to a creative person. I think there's a lot of places to even the Cape and just so there. And then New England in general, I think, has a lot of that great stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And I love writing about New England. And I feel like my writing, I like to write a lot about America in general and like the different American landscapes, but they're all kind of informed by how I understand New England.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, in comparison to, that's what your sense of reference is, I would imagine, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Well,
my poetry collection, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I agree with you 100%, because a lot of my writing is exactly the same. It stems from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, what are you doing this summer? Are you is going to be more of a challenging summer, or are you going to be able to at least enjoy some of it?
Well, here's my master plan. So,
which you always have. You're a Capricorn.
I know. I always have one. So, I actually got a job at the Grand Canyon, but here's the thing with that. They're opening up in June, like June 15th, but they're probably not going to have me until like July or August.
Okay.
But we also found a bunch of like farms across the country. I mean, Justin, that we're probably going to work at. It's basically like a work share kind of a thing where it's called Workaway.
Wow.
And so we can basically go there and live there on the farms and on the places and help them out, and they pay for our housing and everything. So we're either going to be working for the National Park System, or we're going to be just kind of hopping from farm to farm, but we're going to drive across the United States.
Could I be any prouder of you? I think not. I think not. And listen, I have to show this picture now. You'll see it later when you watch the show, but because usually the people would be in the studio with me, and I don't do that, that StreamYard thing and the Zoom split screen. That's not because this is a radio show that I do. I just happen to Facebook Live it, so it's difficult to run everything. But I want to show you a picture of my niece. Well, this was taken at Christmas, and she, that is my niece, Angelica. I'm so proud of her, and she's so amazing. She is just the brightest light. But I showed you that because this, Angelica, is actually my favorite picture of us. It's the two of us. I think you must have been about 3 or 4. And I said, and you always had such a fire. I show this picture because I have it on my refrigerator. And I show this because you always had such a fire. I said to you, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump back up on the bed and I'm going to just take a picture of us. And we made the same exact face. And I loved it. I love this picture because it shows your fire, even from like a 3-year-old. So you have grown to be a wonderful, wonderful, amazing human being, but you always, since I can remember, had so much fire. And so that's why I'm so proud that you're doing what you want to do and what you love. And just, I love that you're going across the country and doing that. I love it. And so it's going to be you and Justin, right?
Yeah, it's going to be me and Justin, and my sister is in Monterey, California now. That's where she lives. She lives on a military base, and so we're hoping to kind of visit her, potentially, like if it opens up, I don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic, but hoping to kind of go to California, visit her, hoping to visit my brother who lives in San Diego. So all the Schlieffs is going to be on the West Coast.
Oh my God, that is going to be something to behold.
I know.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. That's really amazing, honey. I hope you get a little, I hope sometime at some point when when we can meet up again, we're going to have a huge celebration. I promise you. And what I want to do is have you and Justin come to New York at some point, or maybe even while you're coming across. Let's plan something and make it very special. Because I just think it's amazing. And you've always been someone that was like, it's funny, I want to say laser focused, but that's not the right term for you. You just had fire, and then you kind of let the wind blow through you. And that's how I see you. I don't see you, but you're super smart, and I just always admired how much passion that you had and how much work you put into everything you do.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
So I wanted to tell you that. And please give Justin a huge hug for me. I think he's great.
Mm-hmm.
And, next time you come back through, bring Justin with you. We'll have a good time. Justin is also a big folk fan, as am I. He loves folk music, right?
He loves folk music, yeah.
And he's like more of a historian than I would ever. I mean, I know a lot of history about music, but he really knows a lot of history.
Justin was the smartest person ever. He's crazy.
Yeah.
So smart.
Isn't that great, though, to have a smart boyfriend?
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. Yeah,
it really is. Yeah. Okay, honey.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you for calling in, and I wanted to congratulate you. And just like tonight's show is an ode to class of 2020. And also, I know you're really into like a lot of cool spiritual things. And my friend Dan, who's calling in, Dan Crowley, is amazing. He's an astrologer. Yeah, he's a singer and songwriter, and but he's also like this amazing astrologer. So I just thought, yes. So I thought it would be.
I love that.
I know you do. I thought it would be a great matchup tonight. And when I talk about Capricorns, I always say, "Oh my God, I know Capricorns. My niece is a Capricorn. They are ducks in a row."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, very organized.
And I hope you're interested to hear that I have a Sagittarius moon, and then my ascendant is Capricorn, so I'm like a double Capricorn.
No.
Sagittarius moon. And it's funny that you say like I have like that fire, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, and when it's in that placement of the moon, it's kind of like my emotional, like, body, creative body.
Wow. Listen, you know what I want you to do? I want you to not on here. Just text it to me, because I'm going to send it to Dan. Your date of your birth and the time you were born, because I'm going to, as one of your presents, I'm going to have your chart done.
Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to get my chart done.
Well, that's going to be one of your presents for me.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to have Dan Crowley do your chart. Okay, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I can't tell you. I'm beaming with pride for you since the day you were born. You just are amazing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, honey. Have a great night, and I love you, and I'll see you soon, okay?
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Okay. May I take a moment? Oh, my God. Since the day she was born, she was like, I can't, whatever. I mean, everybody loves who they love. But my niece Angelica is just exceptionally, just an exceptional being. She's just a great person, very smart. Come on. I mean, that's my whole life has revolved around creativity. Those are the people that I love. And she got a creativity award. And she's just amazing and fun and great. And I love her boyfriend, Justin. He's a great guy. Okay, so this is perfect because my buddy Dan Crowley is calling in at 9:30. And this is a perfect segue into Dan's magical stuff. So now, yeah, Lynn Portis. Oh, let me see. All my buddies have joined, but Lynn Portis, genius, has joined us. Talk about creative. Lynn Portis is the epitome of creative. And Lynn also loves and understands astrology. And so, Lynn, you're going to love Danny. You're going to love Danny. Now, I am going to have Angelica's chart done. And when Dan comes on, I'm going to let you know how you can all contact Dan and get your charts done. Because Dan has a little more time these days than he would normally have to do charts. And usually they're, backed up now. He's got time to do them. So this is going to be good. But let me check on who's checked in with us. So Seamus, of course, who we adore. Jay Rivera. Hi, Jay. How are you? I love Jay Rivera. Kimberly Cetron. Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? Ed Kutu from Connecticut from Blade Salon. Now, I know, Eddie, you guys are opening up soon, but I know Connecticut had a little bit of a false start there. So do me a favor. When you do know that your shop is opening up, Eddie, Blade Salon and Rocky Hill, Connecticut, please let me know, and I will let our listeners know. My sister's shop, European Flair, which is on Main Street in West Concord, Massachusetts, is slated to open this Monday, which, what's the date on this Monday? I want to say the 24th, maybe? So, fingers crossed, knock on wood, they're going to be able to open it. It's a limited, Eddie, all the safety measures, and I talked to her today, and she's very excited, and they're doing all the right things that they have to do. Massachusetts is quite incredible, and how they really give you great guidelines, as is New York, and I'm sure Connecticut is the same way. So we're lucky. We live in really great states that help you. They're helping us. We're reopening in phases in a safe way, and it's going to be great. So I'm excited for my sister very, very much. So I would assume that Gina and Joyce would be doing the same soon. And Eddie, let us know, okay? As soon as you know, then I'll post it and let our people know. We can put, you can also put it on our Instagram. So here's the thing. Please follow us on Instagram. Well, we don't have a Twitter, but follow us on Instagram. Also, we have a YouTube channel, What's the Story with Maria YouTube channel, which is great. You can watch all our shows. This is show 147, I believe. And so, I hope that you will follow us. And please like us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, What's the Story with Maria. Please go and like What's the Story with Maria. You would make me so happy. I love seeing your little faces, and we got a nice little bunch of people on that. And I post a lot of great stuff on What's the Story with Maria. Past guests will send me things, and I like to update my listeners with what our past guests are doing. So, please, and past guests, feel free to send me material. I will post it on that wall. I want everybody to be represented. Oh, my God. Speaking of represented, here is our beautiful friend, Dan Crowley. All right, hold on. Danny? Are you there? Hold on, baby. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. Hold on, sweetheart. There we go. Just bring up your voice a tiny bit, Dan.
Sure. That's
perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so first of all, this is Dan Crowley, everybody. That's Crowley. He's been my friend for many, many years. We work at the Duplex together. Right, Dan?
That is correct. Yep.
Dan,
I've been there 9 years now. I know you've been a lot longer. But...
Yeah, but 9 years, I don't know why it feels like you've been there longer, Danny. I don't know, but Danny is a singer-songwriter, and let me show a picture of Dan. I have a picture of you that I printed out where you are playing the guitar, but my printer went a little wacky, and so the colors aren't perfect on the guitar, but you look great. So this is Dan Crowley. You might know him. If you folks have been to the Duplex, you know Dan. He's a happy hour bartender downstairs and upstairs on the weekends, and everybody knows Danny. Danny plays the best music ever. He has a great music set, and you have such an eclectic music sense, Danny. I really, really love historically where your music goes. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Well, you have a great taste in music too.
Well, thank you, honey. Now, what I wanted to, I always want to have my friends on the show, but tonight, the reason that I was like, Dan, are you free? is because, my niece was just on, and she is a huge fan of astrology, and she really knows.
Yeah, that was such an inspiring interview you guys had.
Wasn't it?
I love New England so much. I love hearing you talk about it. There's such a special soul to New England. The first time I went to Provincetown, I was just like, this is where my heart belongs.
Danny, when I think of you and Seamus, I think of Provincetown. It's funny that you should say that. Because you guys appreciate it the way I appreciate it.
Yeah, we obviously canceled our trip for this summer.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, we just have to be safe. Everything will be what it should be in time, but we just can't mess around with it,
Yeah.
Now, Dan, you were not born in Massachusetts, though, right?
No. I was born in Yonkers, right outside the city, and I was raised about an hour north of New York City.
Okay. And you said, though, you went to Provincetown, you just felt that connection right away, right?
Oh, yeah. But even when I used to do theater, I remember being on a national tour, and we previewed in in Vegas. We opened in Kansas City, and then we worked our way kind of across. And I remember when we got to New England, the audiences got the jokes much more. Like, they were just such smarter audiences because New England values education so much. And, like, coming from, like, these Midwestern states where, like, we would get no reaction from the audience. And then we got to New England, and it was like, oh, this curtain lifted, and everybody all of a sudden understood everything because they get it.
Wow. That's a really, that's an amazing statement. And I guess it says a lot. Judy always says that you can tell, the more educated states are, they're going to get more stuff. They're just, she always has said that. She's like, you can't pull much over an educated state. Whereas, states that don't have, maybe they don't have the luxury of that, or they haven't put the same value in education that maybe perhaps we have, things might just kind of go over their heads, or they don't care for it. So I thank you for saying that. I agree, and it's really refreshing. Now, you were on tour as a dancer and a singer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. And you stopped doing that, and you started, and so you were more of a local performer and personality for the last 9 years.
Yeah, even before that, I did theater probably like my first 5 years out of college.
Okay.
So from like 2003 to 2008, and that's when I kind of focused on, okay, I don't want to leave, 90% of the jobs in theater are not in New York City.
Right.
And I just hated leaving. Every time I got another gig, it was great that I got a gig, but I hated packing my life up into a suitcase, and I just got to the point where I didn't want to travel that much, like, unless it was for pleasure,
Right.
So.
Now, Danny, let me ask you. So you went from that life, and we were just talking this week at Jerry's little Zoom birthday party, and I knew that you were doing these amazing charts, and you started to do my chart at this kind of party, Zoom party that we were doing, and it was so incredible. I was like, this is like the best chart I've ever had done, and you only kind of sort of like halfway did it, and I was so impressed, and I said, like, when did you... So I know that you've always kind of studied it, but would you say that during this time when you've had time off of work that it really took off?
Well, it actually was kind of serendipitous. I started reading about it in the year 2000. I was in college, and a guy I dated just for a few weeks loaned me an astrology book called Gay Love Signs, and it literally had every single combination of every sun sign pairing and how they would get along together as two gay men. And I was like, this is fascinating. And then the guy he was a dancer, and he couldn't make it in New York City, so he had to move back home to Colorado. And he was so embarrassed that he never told me, so he emailed me like sheepishly weeks later and was like, I'm sorry, I had to move, and I'm so embarrassed that I couldn't make it in New York. And I was like, I never gave you your book back. And he was like, you can keep it. So over the next few years, I would read that book constantly.
Wow.
So I always studied it. I had my chart done somewhat incorrectly in 2004. And then it was in 2013 I discovered this astrologer named Deborah Silverman, she's a lot like you. She's a Gemini with a grand trine in fire, which you have, and we'll discuss that in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
And she uses a lot of like humor and pathos in her, because a lot of astrologers are like all doom and gloom, and you have all these challenging aspects, the planets that don't get along, and her thing is, well, yeah, of course all of us have things that we do really well and things that we don't do well, and the things that we don't do well we have to work on, and those are our life lessons, and you can spin lemons into lemonade, and it's all about like falling in love with yourself and falling in love with your fate.
Right.
And learning.
I love that, Dan. Falling in love with your fate. I love that.
Yeah. So
That's wonderful.
She's offered this online program to become a certified astrologer for years, but it was always like the wrong time, and it was just a lot of money to drop at once. And I was always just like part of me was like, I can't justify spending that much money at one time just for an online course. And every year, Seamus would say to me, because my husband is my publicist, and he always
and
like,
wonderful. I love Seamus to pieces.
And he's always like backing me up on everything. And every year when the class comes around, he's like, "You need to do that class. You need to do that class." And I'm like, every year I put it off. And this year we're in a pretty good financial situation this year. So I thought, we have the money, let's do it. So I signed up for it right after New Year's, not knowing what was going to happen. I was just going to do it the class while I was still bartending on my days off.
Right.
And then lo and behold, a few weeks into the class, it started in March, and I said to the people in my online classroom, I was like, thank God I signed up for this, because I'd be going out of my mind right now if I didn't have something to do and something to, be productive about. So it just worked out like creepy. And it's weird because when my astrology teacher in my classroom had done my chart, she said, you have some of these planetary connections. It makes you a psychic person. Do you know that about yourself? And I said, I've heard people say that to me, but I've never been the kind of person where like I feel dead people in the room, or like I'm not that kind of psychic person. But when I signed up for the course in January, there was something in the back of my mind that said, you will need to do this year. Do it now.
Amazing.
And look what happened. So.
Wow, Danny, that's like really incredible. And when you said, I think we were having like a work Zoom meeting or something. This is prior to Jerry's party. You mentioned it, and to me, it made total sense that you would be doing this, because you're not. To me, you're not an extrovert. You're always fun to be around, but you're not like the loudest guy in the room. But you can really get other people to enjoy themselves very easily. Like that's your thing.
Well, I'm a Libra, which is why you and I get along so well, because I know Judy's a Libra.
Yes,
too, right?
she is a Libra. Judy just popped on too, and she said, "Hola," so hello, honey bunny. Yes, Judy is a very feisty Libra, I might add. You're a different kind of Libra, Danny, than Judy.
Yeah. Well, so the thing that makes me more grounded too is I have a Capricorn rising.
Oh, like my niece is a Capricorn, right?
Your niece, and my sister's a Capricorn too, so I was relating to that with your niece, because my sister is like, once she's climbing one mountain, she's already starting the next one before she can have a victory lap to celebrate. Like, it's like, get the master's, get the doctorate, like, go.
Right.
Like,
well, Judy's like that too as a Libra. She's very like goal-oriented.
Yeah.
I don't have that so much.
Well, yeah, but you have the most creative chart, though. I mean, I have never seen a chart quite like this. And they say, like, your soul designed the chart for us before we planned this, in the other world before we came here, like, where we wanted all of our placements to be.
Yeah.
So you created a really unique chart for yourself. It's like, you're pretty much all fire and air.
Wow.
Which, if you know the four elements, fire and air get along great. So, because they are both extroverts, even though like you don't consider me quite an extrovert, I do have a fire moon.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I think, because I have a Leo moon, but I think the Capricorn rising is what I lead with.
Right.
So, like, if I walk into a room and I want to have a great time, I want to have a party, but I'm not going to be that first guy that's like, let's do shots. Like, I kind of have to assess the situation,
right?
See who I'm around, read the room, and then once people know me, then we're going to talk about poop, and we're going to talk about sex, and it's going to be hilarious, and but I have to like read the room first.
Now I'm going to stop you, and I'll tell you why. Because
Maria, you have a grand trine in fire, which gives you such a life force. So you have all three fire signs represented, and they're all within 5 degrees of each other.
Oh my God!
They're all supporting each other. Your moon is in Sagittarius, just like your niece.
Wow. Well, my niece and I are like, we're like this. We're really, really tight.
And since the moon is your emotional body, and it's how you like emotionally process things, it's like where you go when you want to feel intense joy, or when you're upset about something, it's how you react.
Okay.
So like your sun sign is your ego and your personality, so that's your Gemini.
Okay.
But Gemini and Sag are very similar.
Yes, I know that.
But the Geminis can talk forever about anything, and the Sages are a little bit more focused, but more blunt as well. Like words will just fall out of their mouth.
Okay.
And like, oh, did I say that? Oh, sorry. like, that also makes you look fat. And then you're like, oh my God, I didn't mean to say that, you know? So Sagittarius, but they're also eternally joyful and optimistic and look at life as an adventure.
Yes, absolutely.
So that suggests that you have an emotional need to like always be on an adventure, always be on like a spiritual journey for higher knowledge and learning and optimism.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. You are dead on. I mean, just amazing. Now, before you go on, I want to stop for a minute because maybe Seamus can do this while we're doing this. Please, somebody post, Dan, have Seamus post how we can get a hold of you, because I want people to know that Dan, right, especially now because we're not working, Dan is available. You are available to do charts. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been doing them via email, where I just kind of write out what your chart means.
Okay.
But now I've been encouraged. I just finished level 2 of the online course, and level 3 will happen in July, and that's when I'll be officially certified after that's done.
Okay.
So they're encouraging us to do them via Uber conference. So I've set up an Uber conference line.
Okay.
And we do it over the phone, and this way we can have a dialogue about it. So I can actually say, and just instead of you reading about it, I can actually say to you, like, oh, you know, your Venus is here. Do you know this part of yourself?
Yeah, but that's what I liked about when you did my chart.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And we always start with the Saturn return, which is that's what we did the other night in your Zoom call, when I said to you, Maria, what was going on in your life in 1991, 1992, because that was a significant time.
But Danny, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, and I forgot about it. When I said to you, 92, I started teaching, and it really did change my life, which is totally true. But guess what else I started doing, and I thought of it yesterday. I started writing songs.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I know, because you said to me something really huge happened in 92. Like, what happened? Your Saturn, and I was like, 92, I started teaching. But because I started teaching is when I started writing songs. And that is just mind-blowing. So you were dead on, Danny.
That's super significant. And you know what's so crazy about that? Because I always discuss the Saturn return. So Saturn, for people that are not astrology people, Saturn is a kind of a scary planet. It's your life lesson and your life force. Not life force, like your life purpose. It's what you need to be like focused on in your path to enlighten your soul. And if you're not on task, Saturn will come in and kick your ass, like in the form of a breakup or a career change or a move. It can be very jarring, but they always say, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this life, Saturn is your friend.
Wow.
So that said, Saturn takes about between 28 and 30 years to go fully around all 12 signs. So usually in between the ages of like 28 and 31, at some point in that time frame, Saturn returns to exactly where it was when you were born, and something very significant happens. So for you, it was teaching and writing songs. For me, it was getting out of a really negative job that I hated and actually starting work at the duplex, and that was like became such a positive. I mean, my life changed. So as soon as I started working there, I met these great people. I actually met Seamus there, you know?
Wow.
So it's such a, my life would have been completely different had I not worked there.
All right, let me stop you for a second. Leo, I think that's the wrong Dan Crowley, so I want you to look at that again, because he posted something, but I don't think that's Dan, our Dan. Yes, Seamus just wrote, Dan is available to read your astrology charts by contacting him. Thank you, Seamus, at DJ, because I'm reading this for the radio people, D as in Dan, J like John, Crowley, Crowley, I'm sorry, OWLEY 924 at Gmail. Okay, I'm going to read that again for the radio listeners. DJ Crowley 924 at gmail.com. All right.
Yeah,
wow.
I just need the birth time, the date, and the city you were born.
Okay, birth time, date, and the city you were born.
If people don't have the time, unfortunately, I can't do it accurately, because the time that your rising sign is depending on the time of day you were born.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. And boy, I loved the way you did my chart. And I've had my chart done a few different times. And I mean, it usually comes, like it always comes up with the Sagittarius, all that stuff. But you put so much detail in your reading. That was what I loved.
Thank you.
It was
really.
Another
thing I wanted to say
go ahead, please.
What?
Go ahead, honey. Say whatever you want.
Okay, sorry. Interestingly enough, like every sign has what they say, a high road and a low road, right? So it's not like you can say one sign is better than the other. I mean, every sign has its strengths and every sign has its weaknesses.
Right.
So like us both being air signs, as Gemini and Libra, you know, they say our strengths are our communication, that we have words come really easily to us, and we can talk and talk and talk, and, you know, at the low road, we can become gossips and, you know, just busybodies and not talk about anything meaningful. But at the high road, we're teaching people, and you're reaching out to people and bringing people together. So I wanted to say that you are clearly operating your Gemini Sagittarius at the high road.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
Who else in this planet has a Gemini sun and Sagittarius moon?
Don't say it, Danny. Don't say it.
Our fucking president, yes. But he is operating at the low road of it. Because all he does is like just blah, 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 talk, talk, talk. The words fall out of his mouth. The Sagittarius, like that blunt, you know, like the egotistical part of Sag.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're operating the Gemini Sag at the high road, and he's operating it at the low road.
Okay, so that's sad. That's an unchecked Sagittarius. Moon.
Yeah.
Moon.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. But I was going to say, too, about your rising is Scorpio, which is really interesting.
Right?
Because I would not have gotten that vibe from you, and they always say your rising is how you present yourself to people, and it's supposed to be the sign of your soul.
Right.
But, you know, I guess that means, you know, you maybe there's a part of you that could be really intense and really focused.
Oh, absolutely.
And just, like, deep and spiritual, a little bit psychic, and...
Oh, absolutely. I totally have that side. You know, the funny thing with me, Dan, and this is why another reason I loved the way you read my chart, is that it does make sense that there are times when the three of those things there is a struggle happening of focus. It's a focus struggle. But when I do focus, I can really tune into different things. It's just, that is what the challenge has always been for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have so many lines in your chart. I mean, I sent you the picture. I don't know if you...
Yes, I was looking at it, but I'm going to look at it later.
So, yeah, the blue lines are all harmonious aspects, like planets that get along very well, and red lines are challenging aspects. Don't think of the red lines as bad. Red lines are like things we are here to grow and learn from and evolve from. So you have a shit ton of blue lines and a shit ton of red lines. You've got both. So you have a lot of great things going on, but you had a lot of challenges. But it seems like you've really risen above a lot of that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. It was totally worth it.
Yeah, the one element you're lacking is Earth, which I lacked as well. You only have one planet in Earth, and it's Pluto, Pluto stays in the same sign for like 13 years.
So Dan, maybe if Judy is still listening, you can please tell us what that means when you're lacking Earth.
So, you know, each element is something. Fire is your life force, and it's your passion and your energy, and like you're just show up and party. It can be like, for people that don't have fire, it can be like scary, because then those people are, oh, that person's too loud. You know, like Seamus has a lot of fire. Sure. Air is also not as loud as fire, but air is like, can talk forever. It's like the communication. It's your mental skills. It's how your brain works and processing and learning. Earth is the grounded, stable, practical, saving money kind of energy. It can be a little bit boring, but they're the people that get shit done.
Right.
And water is your emotional body, and your tears and your feeling and your love and your compassion.
Wow.
So you have your Scorpio rising as a water sign, even though a lot of people don't think of Scorpio as water because it's so intense.
Yeah.
But the danger with Scorpio is that if they don't allow themselves to feel, they turn into ice.
Ah, wow. So that's really intense.
You have to like check in with yourself and make sure you're processing your feelings. But yeah, I noticed that most people at the duplex, whose charts I've read, we all lack Earth.
We all lack Earth. So we're...
Yeah.
Now,
I think that's why we're bartenders, because if we had a lot of Earth, we would have chosen a much more stable, practical career.
Oh my God, Danny.
You know what I mean?
This is incredible what you're saying. Because who on earth would choose like bartending as a grounding job?
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Or even performing. It's like the two, you know, you're just really flying by the seat of your pants all the time, and yet there's this adventurous part to it that's amazing.
Well, because you also, interestingly, your midheaven on your chart, which is like the very top part, like the midnight section, if you're thinking of it as a clock.
Yeah.
Where midnight is at your midheaven, and your midheaven is your career and your public image.
Yeah.
And you have yours in Leo, which is a fire sign.
Right.
And obviously Leo likes to show off and be dramatic and and perform, and it's also Leo gets a really bad rep for being like selfish and like wanting all the attention on them. That's so not true. Leo just loves love and wants everyone to be happy, and so like they want to make everyone happy. And yes, they like the attention, but they want to share it with everyone in their lives. So you have it there, and you have it right next to your Uranus, and Uranus rules everything that's not normal, like outside the box. It's different, it's innovative, it's technology. So having Uranus on your midheaven would suggest that you're not going to choose a normal career. And you have it in Leo, which means you're going to want to perform.
Wow. And my mother was a Leo. She was amazing. She was like a star. She was handicapped, and I always said that I feel like that if she wasn't handicapped, she would have just been traveling the world.
Wow.
Now let me stop you for a second because I have to do my food section very quickly. I'm going to put the phone down, but then pick it right back up. So stay right there.
Okay.
I have to do it because we've been having so much fun. I forgot to do the food. So here's the section of our show, everybody, called "Go Ahead, Keep Eating." All right, dear, just like her mug says, go ahead, keep eating. Now, what did I make tonight? I have to read it because I put so much stuff in my food. So tonight I made chicken, which I marinated in garlic, crushed chili peppers, rosemary, sage, sherry wine, onion salt, Provençal herbed olive oil. And then I sauteed that with red peppers, Vidalia onions, and portobello mushrooms. It smells delicious, and that is over yellow rice. So let me just show you what this looks like very quickly, because I want to go back to talking to Dan. That is what I'm eating tonight. Now, for my salad, I have Boston lettuce because, of course, my niece is calling in from Massachusetts, and now I know Danny loves New England. So Boston lettuce, Sicilian olives for my Italians. I have, yes, thank you, Dan, red onion, little sweet orange peppers, some grape tomatoes, but they're San Marzano tomatoes. They're extra sweet and special. And then I'm going to put a fig vinegar on this and an extra virgin olive oil. And then for dessert, we are having your basic, delicious, soft chocolate chip cookie. You cannot go wrong with a chocolate chip cookie. So that's what we're having for dinner. That's in the go ahead, keep eating section. Now, what do we have for merchandise? Yes, we still have merchandise. You have your tote bag. Your What's the Story with Maria tote bag. It says go ahead, keep eating on the back. That's $10. Your cup is $10. How can you go wrong with that? And then our piece de resistance, which I sell more of these than anything else. These are a little more money. They're $25, but because there's a lot of detail in these. So go ahead, keep eating. There you go. And it's a blue apron. Blue is the to watch. All right, Danny, I'm sorry to keep you. Go ahead. Now, we have about...
Oh, we could have a whole nother one of these conversations about food, so...
Oh, my God, I know. We have about 4 minutes left to our show. So, I want to... Go ahead. Tell people how... I want people to find you, but go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
I want to just touch on two other things in your chart that I want to just make sure you know, because what they say is, like, instead of judging ourselves, we should give ourselves permission slips and say, you know what, that's okay, because of this placement, this is why I am who I am.
Wow.
So, like, your Saturn, which is your life lesson planet, is in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and Aquarians are humanitarians, and they bring people together. And you have it in the third house, which rules communication.
Wow.
So if you ever feel like you're just talking too much, or like you're doing these radio shows and you're bringing all these people together, that's what you're here for. So give yourself a permission slip. Don't ever judge yourself for that. Like, you're supposed to be doing this.
Thanks, Danny.
And the last thing I wanted to touch on, because I know, how many years have you been sober now?
30 years. I've been sober 30 years.
30?
30, yeah.
Wow, 30. Wow, that's incredible. Because you have Neptune right on your rising sign. And Neptune rules dreams and the other world and addictions.
Okay.
And since the rising sign is the first house, so it's the house of the body. So when I Googled Neptune on the rising, it said that it can manifest in, like, harming yourself with, like, drugs and alcohol, or just, like, clouding and harming your body.
Wow.
So I thought it was so interesting that you got sober so many years ago. So it was like almost like you used the rest of your chart to process what was happening, and you corrected it.
Wow.
So you were able to evolve.
And you know what's funny, Danny? You know what? I got sober when I was 27, so it was the beginning of that Saturn.
Yeah.
And, and then I moved to New York right away. Like, I had 5 months sober, and I moved to New York, and then I started working in Tony and Tina's wedding, which Lynn reminded me, and then I started teaching, and then I started writing songs, and also thank you, Lynn Portis. If it wasn't for Lynn Portis, I wouldn't be writing songs. But all these great things happened between, like you said, 27 and 30, you know,
Yeah.
and thank you so much. That was really profound. I mean, this is, and folks, this is literally like Dan did some on my chart the other night. It was in pieces and then this, but look how much information you're getting. So if you want to have your chart done, and Dan, I hear like such a, you're so excited about what you're doing. Like you really love it, right?
Fascinating, yeah. I've always loved it. It's so fascinating.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, honey. So again, if you want to find Dan, I'm going to scroll back to it. It's DJ Crowley 924 at Gmail. Please reach out to Danny to have your chart done, and you guys can talk and work it out. And now is the time. Not everybody, but a lot of people are home. You have time to talk to Dan on the phone or whatever you want to do.
And honestly, until I get certified in July, I can't, like, in good conscience, like, charge an actual fee because I'm not fully certified till July. So for now, I mean, if people want to Venmo a tip, that's totally fine. But
listen, yes, absolutely Venmo a tip, which is the right thing to do. And I am going to also have I want to have my niece's chart done. I'm going to text you that. Absolutely. And of course, Venmo a tip. So I understand what you're saying, but let me tell you, the amount of information that I got from you and your chart reading. Oh, thank you, Jimmy. Okay, we gotta close up. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Dan Crowley. I want to thank Angelica Schlieff. I want to thank Jim Bell of Armed Radio. Thank you so much, Jimmy, our producer and engineer. I want to thank Joe Rocks of Armed Radio. Remember, we're here every Tuesday night at 9. Don't forget us. Just come back here on Facebook, Armed Radio, armeddigitalmedia.com, Armed Radio Global. We will see you next week. We love and appreciate you. Have a great night.